Good morning. Today we are talking about the Flub Drum. We're going to talk about why people use it, what the heck is the point of it, and why I don't like it.
You don't like the Flub Drums? Oh my goodness! I am seriously offended by that statement as a Flub Drum section leader. You know, the Flub Drums are the most important section in the entire marching band.
I don't know about that, but okay, alright. I won't say that I don't like the Flub Drum, okay? I think there is a point to them sometimes. However, most of the time when I see groups using a flub section, it is just really bad. Yeah, I think a lot of schools don't really understand the point of why flub drums are there, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. But first of all, in the family of core-style marching percussion, you have your snare drums covering the high-pitched articulate frequencies. Then you got your tenors covering the high-pitched down into the mid-low range. Then you have your tonal bass drums covering the mid-low range all the way down to the very low range. And you might also have a cymbal line which just adds an extra color and impact to the high-pitched, creating this very functioning family of marching percussion. So how do the flub drums fit in with this very functioning and cohesive family of drums? Why don't we let the experts decide that? Because over here I have a video by Flow Marching entitled Flubs. What are they and why do we use them? Oh, let's find out.
I think sometimes it's better to be pitcher for the B team than outfield for the A team. Instead of like going to pit or horn line or somewhere else where you can be a prominent instrument, spending a year on flubs is only going to help you as opposed to hurt you. If your goal is to eventually move up and you don't make it your first try, that's okay.
Okay, so that was a sports analogy, and I totally understand it, obviously. However, I really don't agree with what he said, and we'll get back to that in a second when we're gonna finish this video. Also, they missed an opportunity to put Flub Drum Section Leader under his name. Oh, tisk tisk.
Flub instrument, the marching tom, has a lot of different applications in a lot of different settings.
But we use it certainly as a training aid. You know, just like any ensemble, you have a third trumpet, you have in the guard, you have a flag line. We do the same thing with our less experienced members, and we put them on the single tenor. It gives them an opportunity to move their hands. It gives them an opportunity to learn all the exercises. It gives them an opportunity to march, to learn the weight and carrying of a drum. And also gives them just an opportunity to perform and be out there with the band.
The people that think that it's not a real instrument or that they're looked down upon, I don't really care. Any of those people that I've heard say stuff like that aren't teaching.
I think that's a call out right there. Okay, so a lot of good points are being made in this video here. The flub drum is basically a tool to train newer members to get them ready to play snare, tenors, or bass drum the next year. However, my problem with this video is I feel like a lot of less experienced drum techs are gonna watch this and think, man, I need a flub line in my school. You know, we got all these kids playing snare and bass and tenors that aren't ready at all. We need to train them on flubs first. That's kind of the point that is being made in this video. However, the problem is, look at the size of this freaking drum line. This drum line is enormous. Looks like we got 5 tenors, 7 snare drums, 5 bass drums, 6 flubs, and I think they had a 5-person cymbal line also. So yeah, when your line is this big, then you are pretty much maxed out in the sound that you want to be producing. So it doesn't hurt to add another section in that you can't really hear. And I have seen schools with small percussion sections that have a flub line, and every time I see that, I'm just like, why? Why would you have 3 snares, 1 tenor, 4 bass drums, and 2 flubs? No. Put those flubs on a drum that can be heard and makes the ensemble sound better. The flub drum should be a luxury for you if you have maxed out your recruiting efforts. Actually, it probably also depends on how many students you have going to your school that can participate. Actually, how many students go to this school? Okay, so this line here is Avon High School, which has 3,116 students attending that high school. That is really freaking huge. We have Tim Fairbanks, percussion director of Centerville High School, which has 2,803 students, also very huge. And we have Jeff Queen, director of percussion at Carmel High School, which has 5,057 students. Holy freaking crap, that is a huge high school. The schools that I've taught have about 1,000 to maybe 1,200 students. I would love to have 5 times that many kids potentially able to participate in the program. That must be nice. Another reason I dislike seeing programs with flub drums is when they use their old snare drums as their flub drum. So you can see in the video here, they're using like a cut-off shelled tom-tom, which that is pretty obvious that, you know, it's its own thing. But when a school just takes some snare drums and takes the snares off and tunes them low, that's very confusing for people watching the show. Like, there's been so many times where I'm like, wow, they have 7 snare drummers, that is amazing. And then I start watching the show some more, and I'm thinking like, whoa, those 4 snare drummers don't know the parts right there, and they're also using a different technique. Oh, they're flub drums. Okay, I get it. I don't know, that's just a personal thing that bothers me every time I see that happen. But okay, let's go back to that sports analogy that was made at the beginning of the flub video. So that student was saying that he would pretty much rather be an unimportant position on like the varsity team rather than being the most important position on the JV team. So that's assuming that you have like varsity marching band and junior varsity marching band. I don't know if any schools actually have that, but if you do, then it would be way better to play snare drum on the junior varsity marching band than play flub drums on the varsity band. Like, you're gonna get better at snare drum by playing the snare drum. Even if the parts are like really simple, like that's gonna be the drum that you're playing. And can we just talk about the name of this instrument? The flub drum? Like, who thought to call it that? The word flub in verb form means botch or bungle something, as in she glanced at her notes and flubbed her lines. Or in noun form, it means a thing badly or clumsily done, a blunder. Yeah, the word flub pretty much means you're screwing up. And calling this drum that just makes it seem demeaning, which is why I think people think it's, you know, not a real instrument. It should just be called like the learning drum. I mean, that's the point of it, right? You're learning how to play a drum by marching this drum. Petition to change the name of the flub drum is down in the description. Go sign it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.
Hold on just 1 second before we wrap this up. I just want to say that no matter what section you get put onto, if you don't make something like the snare or the tenors or the bass drums, just know there is still hope for you. See, I was put on the flubs, and then I got put on the snare drum, and now I'm back on the flubs. I think that's because they wanted an experienced veteran leading the new members. Yeah, let's go with that one.
I'm sure that was the reason, yeah. Well, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click that subscribe button, ring that Liberty Bell, and click that like button. And also consider buying a custom t-shirt, such as this one. I will leave that link in the description. And have a good morning.